to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we have Morgan Township's meeting of February the 13th, 2018. Have a roll call, please.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Brooker?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Present?
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes from January 30th, 2018.
All right, Tom Brucker, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as written for January 30th, 2018.
Okay. I will second that.
Mr. Brooker?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Motion carried.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the warrants.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the payments from January 30th, 2018 through February 13th, 2018. Payment number 92-2018 through 125.
121.
Or, yeah,
See where the yellow
okay.
is over.
121-2018, and then 123-2018 through 132-2018 and 164-2018. And warrant number 8351 through 8382 for a total of $64,898.35.
I'll second that.
Mr. Brooker?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right. Before we go to the audience, we're going to do some appointments to the zoning board and the zoning administrator. So at this time, I will make a motion to appoint Dale Marshall as the part-time zoning administrator for Morgan Township. He will have a salary of $22,000 a year. The salary will start at the end of this next pay period, which will be February 25th. And until that time, he will still be on the $25 per hour until that end of the pay schedule.
I'll second that.
Mr. Updike?
Yes?
Mr. Brooker?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Do these since,
I don't care.
okay. And we had two openings on the Morgan Township Zoning Commission, as well as two openings on the Morgan Township Board of Zoning Appeals. They were filled on the Zoning Commission by Mr. Daniel Morrissey, and he is going to fulfill the unexpired term, which ends on 12/31/2019. And Matt Peacock will fill the unexpired term ending on 12/31/2020. And for the Morgan Township Board of Zoning Appeals, Chris Schweitzer will fulfill the unexpired term ending 12/31/2018. And Christopher Gaines will fill the unexpired term ending 12/31/2019.
I will second that.
Mr. Brooker?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes?
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Motion carried.
And a little thing I will say, I'm very pleased at what Dale has done so far and moving forward, and I think with the addition to all the people on the board, I think we'll be in really good shape. Seem like really good people, good candidates, so I thank all of them as well.
I echo that as well.
At this time, we'll go to the audience. If anyone from the audience has got anything. If not, oh, Mr. Huff?
You want to step up to the...
I mean, just quick little thing, and really to do with Connie, I guess. I got a letter from Sarah Glaub for the drug screening, anybody contacted her yet?
I have not.
Okay. I mean, I can go back in there and say something, but I don't know what to tell her.
Do you have the letter with you?
No, I forgot to bring it. But
Okay.
this letter, all it said was nobody was picked to be screened this month, so you don't have to
Okay.
worry about it, so.
Okay.
But,
You haven't contacted her, I can take it over if you want.
Okay.
Okay.
yeah. Well, see, I don't know who to tell her or nothing, so.
Just give her my name if,
Tom?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'll tell her that then.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
thank you.
Thanks, Daryl.
All right, anyone else from the audience? If not, Mr. Marshall.
All right. Well, the first thing on the agenda, on my report is you have before you 3 pictures. The first one is the Bell Road picture. Some of you have black and white. I apologize. I didn't want to run my ink out all the way, and everything. And as you can see, this vehicle is inoperable in a very good sense. But it is a late model car. I'm not sure of the year at this point in time. But it does sit out there and looks like it hasn't been driven in quite a while. This is, okay. The
Is it
second
just
set of.
that car, or
just
is the
that car.
truck an issue too?
No, the truck
The
has
truck's
been.
got license plates, I can see
The
that.
truck has got a license plate. Even though you don't see any tracks leading to the truck or everything else, the truck has been sitting there. Every day I've driven by it, in essence, and it hasn't moved. So I'm only looking at the car in that respect and would only focus on the car in terms of that.
Anything about the garage door?
Well, can I? I don't think I can, you know? I would love to, but as
looks like a
Roger Gates
safety
says,
issue.
Yeah, really.
I'm not in the pretty police division, right? Right?
Did the lady say how long it's been there?
She said it's been there for about 6 months, or at least ever since they have began to do the remodel on the house next door.
Okay.
Okay. The second set are the pictures of the 2 vehicles that are at 5027 Alert, New London. If you actually can't see that one, I'll let you look at these 2. The first one, the older model Jeep here, looks somewhat operable until you start to look to see all the junk that's sitting inside the interior of the vehicle itself. And the front end is hidden in the fact that there is a boat that is being stored there in the front as well. The second vehicle, you can see that it has probably either been in an accident or the grille has been removed in some form or fashion. And it looks like someone has been attempting to do some repair on it. If you look around at the potential oil cans or whatever, all of that paraphernalia is before. Based upon your view of these, should I pursue with letters to the individuals in, at this time, I do not have names for the individual owners, but I would be looking further into that.
Well, the house on Bell Road, I know, is a rental. Tim Trader owns it.
Okay,
Now, I would imagine that it's probably his car, because he, like Rob said, he does have
What is it, a certificate?
to actually run a repair shop in that garage. I don't think he is anymore.
Right. So they call it non-conforming use?
Right.
I don't think he's doing that anymore, because like, he lives on Lehigh down in Ross Township. So I don't know if the car is actually his or his tenant's. But the letter would go to the property owner, which would be Tim.
okay.
guess my only thought would be, which of these vehicles would be unreasonable to assume that they would move in the anytime immediate future? So the Jeep, to me, the Jeep could move, and the Cherokee could move. The Dodge on Bell Road isn't gonna move, and it probably, the engine and the wheels, it looks like the front right wheel is coming off.
Right.
And there's no chance that engine will run within that car. So if we look at a guideline that says, is there a reasonable suspicion that a vehicle could be operable within a determined amount of time, I would say the Jeep and the Cherokee, yes. It looks like a Dodge on Bell, no. So that would be either a scrap or a junk car, a scrap or a salvage car to me. So if we were looking at notifying one of these individuals, I would say, when you approach, what's your intention with this vehicle? And I think if it's been sitting there for 6 months, it's probably within the time frame to start asking that question.
I'd probably say to start with a phone call first to them. And then let them know we've gotten complaints and tell them that we need to go to the ORC, and if we do, we'll start the letter. But if not, if there's any plans they're gonna move it or what their intentions are.
I think for both properties, not just.
I would say both.
Yeah, because we did get a complaint on the Alert New London address.
Yeah, we do definitely have the neighbor next door, Ms. Wiseman, who has said that these two vehicles on Alert New London have been sitting there for over a year to a year and a half, maybe more. And the resulting piece of it is, I have more photographs of the land around the Jeeps because they have driven onto their own property and put big ruts into the property. But it's very, very, yeah, it's very, very close to Ms. Wiseman's line, okay? And everything else too, so.
I'd say get the information, we'll do a phone call, and if that doesn't do anything, then we proceed with the ORC and
I
do
will
the letters
proceed.
and.
Okay, I will proceed getting the information and I will do the phone calling, okay?
Okay.
Second thing, the next zoning BZA meeting is February 21st, 7 PM here in the administration building. We will begin our work on this, focused basically on the definitions in the first part of our work. This will also be sent out to all of the, as an announcement to the two zoning, to the two boards this week, so that they are prepared to meet next week with us. Number 3, I just want to thank you for allowing me to serve the community as your new zoning administrator. And the last thing on my list is there are several new housing start applications that have been sent out. I'm awaiting their return. Somewhere in the middle of spring, we're going to have a little boom of housing construction, so all along the way, on both sides of the township, it seems like. Okay.
One other thing, check your information, make sure you got the right email for Mr. Brody, because I've kind of heard that he wasn't getting any emails or anything.
Okay.
So just kind of follow up, make sure he's getting everything.
Okay.
Dale, on that several, is that under 10 or under 5?
It's under 10. There's about, if I look at all my pending ones where I've sent out the application and we'll be waiting for them to bring it in, there's a good 6. Okay. So,
Anybody else got anything for Dale? All right. Mr. Brown?
First off, we have some ditching to do in Shawling Road. I had received a complaint from a homeowner that Monday morning he hit a patch of ice and went sideways on it. We went down and investigated, did find a very large patch of ice right before the bridge at Bay and Shanling. We went through some salt on it. I've called utility locate to get the locate. I need to clean that ditch out, but the ice is gone now, but this heavy rains we're supposed to get Friday, you're probably gonna be sheeting across the road, so I'm gonna try to get that ditched out, so keep it off the road there so we don't have that problem again. While I was there looking at this, I did notice that somebody at some other time, I don't know when they did it, but they struck the guardrail and bent it around. It's on a county, there's a big metal pipe there, but it is a county bridge because it's bigger than 10 foot. And I've made contact with them to come out and repair that guardrails. And I don't know if that's from there being ice there, because what I seen there Monday was the first time I've ever seen ice on that curve like that. But we did have a pretty heavy rain Sunday afternoon, and there's a lot of runoff, and then it froze back Sunday night. So, and now that the runoff is done, like I said, there's no water running across the road now. But with what they're calling for on Friday, 1 to 2 inches of rain, we could have pretty good sheets of water going across there. So. The second thing is I'd like to see if we could purchase a Skag Tiger Cat 2 zero-turn mower from Zimmer Tractor. The guys went up and looked at it today, and we tried the Skag out early last summer, tried the John Deere out last summer. They liked the way that the Skag mower ran a lot better, and they went up and looked at it again today to make sure that it was what we was after. And it does have a narrower frame and a little bit shorter frame. Should be a little bit easier to get around inside the tombstones and stuff than what the John Deere is. I'd also looked at a grasshopper that had a front mount, and I just don't think that would be very feasible to use in our cemeteries, and especially like in Shandon Cemetery, some really tight quarters. So that $8,530 is the price, is what they quoted me on that Skag Tiger Cat 2.
Is that on state bid?
Yes, with a 52-inch deck is what it's got.
I know we've been looking. Are you guys ready to move on that?
Yeah. If that's what you guys want.
Is that what are you recommending that? Is
Yes.
that your absolute,
Absolute.
after Columbus, you looked at everything?
I've
you
looked at
possibly
everything.
have?
And then talking with the guys, and because they're the ones that actually use it on day in and day out basis, so I'm going on what my two guys are saying that they want. And the John Deere is a very good mower, and if we was just mowing out here, we'd probably be asking for that, but because of being in the cemetery in tight quarters, we feel it'd get along a lot better. Plus, last summer when we used the Skag and the John Deere and we mowed in wet grass, the Skag cleaned itself out the deck a lot better than what the John Deere did mowing in wet grass. And we always have to mow in wet grass in order to get everything done. So,
Well, do you have a mower now that this will replace, that's specifically used for those cemeteries?
yes, it's a Ferris 1500, and it's a little over 13 years old. So
Will you trade that in, or how do you dispose of that?
probably what I'm going to try to do is put it on Gov Deals. I seem to do pretty well on Gov Deals. My man Jeff over there helps
Get
me
your
out quite a bit.
creative descriptions.
I gotta put a bunch of packs on there too, so we'll do them both the same day.
But I've done very well with selling stuff on Gov Deals versus trading in. Usually get $1,000, $1,500 more, sometimes even more than that for stuff by going on Gov Deals than what we do trading stuff in. So,
Because you can put a limit, a minimum, and if it don't meet it, it don't sell, and you can always do it again. So,
All right.
Wait a minute. Chief, the things for state bid, before we can actually get that state bid, don't we have to turn in our annual premium, which we discovered has not been done, I don't think, for at least 2 years? Because I can't find any record of it back, that Joe did it, and I know I didn't do it last year, because I didn't know to do it last year, because it wasn't in the records, and it's $100 a year, and that's in it's in your report, or is it in my? Okay, it's in. Yeah, and that's what that resolution is that I gave you, that has to be approved, so we can send in that money.
We can
You can go
approve
ahead.
this purchase order pending.
Yes, okay.
All right, I'll make a motion to create a purchase order for, is it Zimmer mowers? Zimmer tractor for the purchase of a Skag Tiger Cat 2 for the purchase price of $8,530.
I'll second.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Motion carried.
The next thing, with all of our road work that we have to do, we're going to be doing a lot of cut and rebasing. And the last year and a half, we've borrowed a roller from Ross Township. And I've been looking at used rollers, and I got a price from Southeastern for a brand new roller that is on state bid. Some of the used rollers that are the same size as this Bomag BW 900-50. It's a 1-ton roller. It's got tandem vibratory rollers, and it's both drums are where they drive to help pull you through the asphalt. In any case, I've looked at a bunch of used ones ranging from $10,000 to $12,000 for the 1-ton rollers. I've looked at half-ton rollers that are about $5,500. All of them, the newest that I can find is 13 years old. And I got a quote here from Southeastern Equipment on a brand new BW 950 tandem vibratory roller, and it lists for $20,020. The go off the NJPA discount, which is that it's a national thing. It's like state bid, but it's national. You're getting $5,706 knocked off of it. The state bid, I have not seen this particular roller on there, but most of the rollers that I've seen for a 1-ton roller is only like a $4,500 to $4,600 rebate. So you're getting a little bit more off this NJPA, which is a national. Just like, and that costs nothing to get in that. You just have to fill out the form, submit it to them, and get okayed before you make the purchase. So I guess what I'm doing tonight is just kind of planting the seed to see if that's something that's possible, because that would make this machine, to purchase this machine brand new, $15,309 for a brand new 1-ton vibratory roller that has 2 that twist in the middle. That way when we do our cut and rebasing, we can level out our asphalt.
So on the state bid, what's the retail, did you say?
The retail was $20,020 is the retail.
And then the state bid was?
And then you knock $5,706 off, that brings it down to $14,314. And then you have a $995 in freight that you have to pay, so that brings the total to $15,309 even.
But that's not state bid, right?
That's not state bid, that's the national bid, which we can buy off of that without having to go through the bidding process. But just like with the ODOT, the STS thing for $100, this doesn't cost anything, but you have to fill out the paperwork first.
Because you're on a volume contract, and they're buying in larger quantities, and they're even buying in larger quantities than I suppose the state is buying. Is that, 'cause we saw that program up in Columbus, is that the same program?
That is the exact same program, that is correct.
Okay.
Because that is a national thing, not just a state of Ohio thing, so.
So that's why I was asking, is the state bid and the bid that the coalition that's also has an option to buy, what's the difference between those two prices? I'm kind of curious to see how much how much gets knocked off the state bid if you go that way?
The state bid, from what I could tell, would have been about a $4,600 savings.
Yeah.
This one here is a $5,706 savings.
About $1,100, did you check it out?
But
for
do you
this
pay
guy?
the freight on the state bid?
Pardon?
Do you pay the freight on the state bid?
I would assume that you do because but I don't know that for fact, but
Because if you don't, it comes out pretty close.
but you are legal to buy this way.
Sorry.
Because we found that out at the show up there, so.
Well, you're looking at basically $3,000 more for something that ain't 13 years old, which is pretty good. Plus you have warranty and everything else on that one, correct?
That is correct, and that is the one thing that the salesman was telling me. He goes, I'll sell you a used one if you want it, but he goes, just remember, you don't have a warranty, you're not getting a
As
discount
is.
like you are on the brand new one, and you're buying it as is. He goes, we'll say that it checks out, but he goes, there's nothing says that you couldn't get it home and a hydraulic motor go out, and you gotta put $1,500 in a new hydraulic motor for something, so.
Did you check that national program for the SCAG? Did it work out any cheaper? Or?
I didn't look at the SCAG on that. I just was looking at this roller because Scott Reynolds, the salesman, he just automatically gave me the price comparison and stuff and said that we would save more money by going with the NJPA. So it wasn't because I did it, so I'm not gonna take credit for it. So that's what the salesman said, that we'd save more money by going through them, so.
Okay.
But on the SCAG, I could look and see if that's on there.
If it is, just see if there's a difference. That'd be a good comparison.
Okay.
Do you have the paperwork to fill out for that?
I can get it online. Because another vendor that I talked to at the state, he sent me the website to go to, and you can download the application and fill that all out and stuff. So. And then I don't have it with me, but I got a brochure back there on my desk that also has the website where you can go to it to download that and fill it out. So.
We work on that and then next meeting hit this?
Okay, right. Yeah, because basically I was just planting a seed so you guys could be thinking about it, look into it and stuff, and we'll go from there, so. A couple other things that aren't on my thing there is I spoke with the Riley Township trustees, and they're able to meet next Tuesday at 5 p.m. if you guys are able to do that, since we already have a trustee meeting next Tuesday at 7. Them coming in at 5 and meet with us to discuss our working together on chip sealing and stuff this summer, that way we can work out details and all that sort of stuff, if that's all right with you guys.
Good.
Next Tuesday?
Next
Is it?
Tuesday, the 20th.
Okay, so we want to use that meeting with Riley and conduct our own township business. Will we do it here or up there?
Well, everything would be here because we have our regular trustee meeting at 7.
Oh.
So I would say
perfect.
just have them
Yeah.
come down at 5, that way we have a couple hours beforehand to just talk about, whatever stuff that you guys want to hear, what they want to hear as far as, using everybody's equipment, using everybody's labor and stuff. That way everybody's on the same page, so nobody gets surprised. Neither board of trustees gets surprised with anything, and we're all in agreement, like on who pays for this if we're in Morgan Township and their truck gets damaged by something, or if we're in Riley Township and our truck gets damaged, who pays for what? It just gives everybody a chance to work that all out beforehand, before anything arises.
Are we going to put anything like that in a memorandum of agreement in writing before that meeting, so we can at least have our own concept of how we'd like to talk through that meeting?
I think this meeting was more of how to go
workshop.
about putting something like that together. From what I gathered in talking with the Riley trustees and what little bit I've talked with you guys, just to try to get some of that together. This might take more than one meeting to get it all arranged, but, because this is we've talked about it privately, but we've not talked about it as a group, and it's something that myself and the Riley Road Superintendent felt that we ought to get both boards together to discuss this.
And you've done this before, right?
Yeah,
You've
we've worked with
cooperated
Riley before, and everything has went real good, but because we're talking about doing more and more in-depth stuff, that's why we kinda wanted to get this all together, because it's worked good in the past, but we've only did 1 or 2 day project here, or 1 or 2 day project there, and we're talking about doing a couple weeks worth of stuff together, so, and a lot bigger
Project.
projects, so that's why we want to get this together. So.
Daryl?
Are what you're saying is, next week you're gonna have a trustee meeting, or 2 weeks from now, because the regular trustee meeting's in 2 weeks, isn't it?
We changed it.
They changed it.
Changed it from the 27th.
We're gonna change it, make it
to the
official
20th.
today. We're changing it to the 20th.
This month,
Right.
Yes.
okay. It's changed.
Are you gonna cover number 4 in your report?
Oh, yes. And number 4 is on Benjamin Lane. I had made some phone calls to the county and found out that since that is a private lane and their addresses are off of Bay Road, they can change that to whatever they want.
Okay.
The only way that the engineer has any jurisdiction over that is if the addresses are off Benjamin Lane and they're coded Benjamin Lane for the 911 or for the mail. But since both of them are off of Bay Road, it's 911 goes to those addresses, says that it's 7855 Bay Road and 7868 or whatever it is, Bay Road comes off of Bay Road. That's just a sign. They can put it wherever they want. They did go and said that they was happy that I called and asked them that way to make sure it doesn't interfere with any other Thomas roads or Thomas lanes in the county. And there is a Thomas Road in Madison Township, but that's a Thomas Road. And there is a Thomas Court someplace else, but they said that being in Morgan Township, if we make it Thomas Lane, it's not gonna hurt anything, but they said they can do that on their own. It's not gonna affect anything else.
So is there any paperwork we need to send in to
There's
them if we
absolutely
do it?
nothing that needs to be done.
Chief,
Okay.
did you check with 9Com to see how they dispatch it?
I did not.
I found their dispatch 7855 Bay Road
Okay.
and 7868 Bay Road is how they're dispatched.
So what about the maps that are out, that the engineer's office put out and got Benjamin Lane on it?
They said that there is nothing, they have no jurisdiction over that. They said that it must have just been when someone was out checking addresses, they seen that street sign there and put it on. And they said if we go and change it, send them an email stating that that's been changed from Benjamin Lane to Thomas Lane. And next time they print up map books, they'll put Thomas Lane on theirs.
Okay. So what, the resident is willing to pay for that. So we talked about this last night, is if when they provide the money, where does that money need to go? Because I think we agreed that the resident could or should or would pay for that sign. So they show up with a check. Who does that check need to go to, and who does it need to be made out to make that
Well,
sign?
I get most of my signs made at Cleam Incorporated down off of Gano Road in Westchester.
Yeah.
And if they want, they're more than, they can go down there and purchase it themselves. But if they go through us, they can get it without having to pay tax for it, so.
Yeah, but for bookkeeping purposes, I would rather not have them giving us a check and then us paying for it, because that looks like we're responsible and we're not. So if they want to purchase a sign, I think they need to do it on their own. That's my thought.
And it'll have to match all the other signs with the reflective.
Yeah, the green with, the green, high-intensity green with the white lettering.
Okay, so I'll work that with you, and then when the sign gets produced, we'll present it to you, or they will give it to you, and will you be able to mount it? Will you have the brackets to put it up?
If they go to Clean Incorporated and have Clean make them a sign,
Yeah.
it will match the bracket that's already there, because there's already a post and a bracket that's there, that blade, and I call it a blade, the street blade will fit right into that, and they'll be good to go.
Perfect, okay.
But Clean Incorporated off Gano Road, and they can call and do it all over the phone and have it mailed to them, and they don't even have to go down there. Clean will take care of them on that.
Okay. Thanks for checking that too,
Yep.
by the way.
One other thing, have you noticed the water crossing here at Chapel Ridge?
And the county's been notified of it. It's
Okay.
been doing that for 4 years now, and every year we tell them, but
It's really doing it here lately.
okay,
Yeah,
The grass coming out.
I'll make another
Grab
phone
some
call
left
to
on
them.
the road.
Did you have any input for the dump truck bed as well?
Yes, I do.
I figured you would.
I got a more clear, I don't know if that's the right way to pronounce that, Dale, but
He'll correct you.
I'm certain of that.
I'm the English police, okay.
On the steel body, the total for the steel body, that includes painting it, mounting it, putting all the lights and stuff on it, that is $9,088.75 for the steel body. For the stainless steel body, the total is $11,913.75 for the stainless steel.
What was the paint at 98?
$9,088.75.
$88, okay.
And the stainless was 11.
11,913
And 75 cents.
So the last time when I had 3 different estimates, the salesman had
Yeah, they
put
weren't.
part of the
They were gonna
put part
paint the
of the
stainless.
painting for the steel body on the stainless steel. That's what had it all confusing. So he said, scrap all that, let me resend them to you. There's 2 estimates, 1 stainless steel, 1 steel. So, and then I have the price quote from Henderson just on their price was $17,295 for a stain, and then if you add $2,995, that would make it stainless steel. So $17,295 was Henderson's steel body. Add $2,995 for the stainless steel for Henderson. So you're almost $20,000 for Henderson and $11,000 for
11.9.
Beamers.
Did
So
you-
it's
did you-
$2,825 difference between the painted steel and the stainless.
Okay.
Did this bed manufacturer come up on the NJPA?
No, that is not on the NJPA. But because of it being under, I think 25,000 or whatever, we can go with these numbers, but that is not on that. Because if you're over a certain dollar amount, you have to put it out for bids or whatever. But now Henderson, being Henderson's on the state bid, you can buy through them without having to go, but if you do with somebody that's not, but
Well, how do you know, I guess this is more a question for Connie, on the,
Not me.
well, nothing about the truck, but on the burn rate, on the money burn rate, how do we know when we're spending money that we don't have, or when we get close, or when we could have an issue that we're gonna need money that we don't have? How do we know that?
Well, I give you all a fund status report, cash summary report, that's what that legal size paper is at every meeting. It tells you what is in every fund after I have paid all the bills before the meeting. So that gives you an idea of, you know, what we have. I cannot produce a purchase order if the funds are not in the account.
Okay.
The system won't let me.
So then, Rob, that might be back on you to say, I guess, until we get a little more comfortable with that number, is where are you, if you're managing your budget, where are you on your budget if you want to go out and spend this money? Are you within your parameters to operate for the rest of the year? Or are you?
Are we going to,
His
it won't,
budget won't have enough.
yeah, it'll have to come out of general fund.
Yeah, have to come out of general. He doesn't have a set budget other than what comes in from
What comes in from taxes.
gas
Yeah.
tax.
Jeff, I'm gonna, this has always been something that has been very hard for me to deal with in my entire time being here. Is up until the last couple of years, I had never had a say what my budget was. Never had it was always, what do you need? Okay, we can do it. No, you can't. The current board of trustees has tried making that where I could put that into play and have more of a say. But I mean, you know, still a lot of it is, basically my budget is set up of what it takes just to run the day-to-day operations. But anything like this, if that's to be bought, has to come out of general fund. Now, I'm not saying that from this, starting next year, that I can't do like the fire chief does on his budget, where he puts into his budget of what equipment he wants and stuff, and then you guys approve it or disapprove it. But that's just how it's been done with the road department. Because actually, until all this stuff with the accounting and stuff, I didn't really have a budget. It just whatever the general fund would support and what the trustees felt that they could do with having a certain carryover at the end of the year, that's what I was allowed to purchase or not purchase.
Okay.
If that,
It's kind of learning your numbers here, what you got, what you can do, and how much, plus you gotta take into account what you've already allocated to spend this year. Cause we've got about 30 grand going just for the Okeana project, that's gotta come out of there. And then we've got another roughly 40 if it passes for the roads, for Lehigh, so.
Well, that's kind of what I'm saying. It's going to be very difficult to make a decision for $15,000 or $20,000 without knowing, without being aware of that general budget and what that general budget can support. And I don't think I know that at this point. You guys might, but historically, if you know you spend X number of dollars a year to maintain your fleet of equipment, you should at least, I think that would be great for you to have something like the chief has that says, he knows he spends $50,000 every year. And you know at some point when you get to whatever your point is, that you're gonna have to put the brakes on it.
well,
So
then, I guess that's
that'd
where,
be good.
where
I
I'm
like
saying
the
is,
suggestion.
well, I'm just gonna come out and say it, is I've never had to do that before, because we had a trustee that's not here anymore that always had his thumb on what you could purchase, and he had it figured out, and he did it all himself.
Plus, I'm gonna say
Daryl
that,
knows who I'm talking about. It's not Daryl. Daryl wasn't that person.
but
But,
let me interact one thing, something you gotta understand too. He's pretty much got a set budget of what comes in and what's there. Rob does not, and the way it works, because your motor vehicle license tax, the gasoline tax, and the road and bridge, what we get there never supports what gets done. So it comes out of general, it comes out of here, and here's another factor, our general keeps getting less and less. One, with the taxes that are here, and with how Kasich has cut us.
And it
So-
might help you too,
And that's something you gotta learn,
yeah.
and so it's not clear cut. He can't exactly do what he does just because of the way the numbers come into us.
Well,
Does that
Well, he needs a process. I'm not sure what he could do, what he can. I'm sure the chief's got a little more elaborate.
yeah,
moving
because,
parts.
for example, the chief has 2 levies and billing it that is guaranteed money coming in. Well, the billing's not, but the levies.
He knows what he's getting.
He knows what he's getting. I have no idea what I'm getting because, you know.
It
at
varies
one-
from month to
At
month.
one time, we used to do $150,000 worth of paving a year, plus whatever maintenance that we did on the roads, we might do another 60 or 70,000 in tar, for buying gravel, buying
Salt.
culvert pipes, buying asphalt to repair those or do blacktop stuff. Like, I think last year I had a couple of POs for $20,000 for blacktop, probably $20,000 for gravel, probably $15,000 for emulsion, just to do repairs on the roads and stuff. And then whatever you did on your, the rest of it, just
Salt.
the salt. I mean, that was all stuff that, the trustees all figured up of, do I have this to carry that? So, it's like right now, we've purchased 425 tons of salt is what we've purchased right now. And, at the end of the year, I like to fill the salt barn back up. And right now, it's gonna take about 220 tons to fill that barn back full. So come next winter, I've got a full barn, and I like to do that now because prices for salt could go up. So I try to fill it at the current price of what it is now. So, I mean, and that's, what, $68 a ton right now. So, I mean, that's all stuff that we gotta take into consideration too, so.
Okay.
And I guess, with that being said, is that why I had asked for a new dump truck, and, that's $153,000, what my original estimate was on that, and that's when we went and said, you can't do that, cause there's not enough funds to do that. That's why we started looking at the dump body to
Make this truck
make this truck last, is cause we knew that there wasn't enough there to do that and do the road work, the 40,000 and the contract work, and then whatever else that we do in the actual repairs. And right now, with the way the roads have been this winter, the last 3 winters, we've been, where there's not been very much work we've had to do to roads, because they've been mild winters. This winter been extremely hard on the roads. They're coming apart. I don't know how much I'm gonna have to do this summer in order to get them back in decent shape. Some of them, where we've got chip seal before, they'll actually, as we get hotter this summer, it'll actually heal themselves to a point. And some of them are just, they're so, the base is gone. And with that freezing and thawing, it got down real deep, and then it thawed out, and that makes stuff real soft, and then just school buses going across it just break the roads up something fierce. And you can see that real bad on State Line Road. However, the part that's really breaking up, that's, thank God, is not our part. That's Franklin County, Indiana's part of State Line Road, because I would hate to think what we'd have to spend if that was our section of road. But the part that we maintain is held up pretty well because of us doing our maintenance in the years past and stuff. So, I mean, I'm just,
Okay, this will be my last question on this.
that's fine.
But this one's kind of more to Connie. If we have the general fund, and you have an idea of what can come out of that general fund to support roads and bridges, could we fence off a number and say, this makes sense to be able to support Rob and his department for equipment? If at some number, at some level, we do that so he knows when he comes to say, I'd like this, he's working against, he's put into he knows what he can ask for and he knows what he can't ask for.
We could probably, I mean, that's up to you 3 trustees, but, as, like Brett said, you've got to take into account the other things that we know are gonna come up. What might help, 2017 has been officially closed out with the state. I've sent my year-end certificate with balances to the county auditor. They have their next budget commission meeting on the 22nd of this month, and I will get the amended certificate back that shows what our carryover balances were, what taxes they think we're going to get to show what our budget will be, and then I can do permanent appropriations after that, so we'll have a better idea of what can go where. And, until all of that's done, I can't, you know, I mean, we're just kind of getting by on our temporary appropriations and our temporary budget for right now. And I want to try and have that done by the 1st of March or shortly thereafter, if, you know, if possible. So, and maybe we can do a work session once I get all of that, so we can all go through that and everybody can understand what we're doing.
Okay.
I think another thing, and Rob and I worked on this a little bit last year, is I have a 5 and a 10-year plan. I can see out in 5 and 10 years what I gotta replace. So I think Rob and I talked about that, looking out this next mower, what's the next, you know, like 10 years on something or 15 years on it, to look out there and start saying, these are things you gotta replace in 2024, something like that, to start. And we've worked on that a little bit in the past, Rob and I have, kind of mirroring off what I do, to kind of look at what he's got aging and stuff like that.
Plus, one other thing, I'll add this before you go. We've had 2 major things that really hit us hard that we weren't really, I mean, we had the money there, but it wasn't in the plans. That was like George Road and Weaver Road, because George Road was
That was
almost
200
300,000
Almost right.
just for that one road to be repaired. And then Weaver was roughly 140, 150.
140,000 for Weaver, yes.
So those were 2 things that weren't really planned, but that's a big chunk of change. But it had to be done, and if you don't fix it now, it's only gonna cost you more the longer you wait. So,
And we had always had our dump truck. Well, when I first started here, we had a brand new dump truck when I started here, and we kept that truck for 15 years. And when we sold that truck, that's when it was about the point to where the one we have now is. However, the one we have now actually is in better shape than what that one was, because that one, when I first started here, we didn't have this nice new building here. We didn't have a heated shop to pull it in after every snowstorm. We didn't have a decent pressure washer to clean it up like we do now. So that truck was literally, there wouldn't have been no, can we get by another 2 years? That truck was gone. So when we bought the next new one, that was after this building was built, it was then kept up here. We had the pressure water. And what I'm saying is we're taking better care of our equipment than what we was able to in the past, but we'd always put everything on a 15-year cycle. And the 2001, you know, we're 2018, so we're 3 years past its regular cycle. And, you know, we put it on a 15-year, and because that way when you go to sell it on Gov Deals, we could get a little bit more money out of them when we sold them. Because maybe 15 years was a bit early to replace something according to what other townships do. I think most other townships, when I've talked to them, they're more like every 20 years they replace. But now the county engineers, every 10 years they're replacing their trucks. But the county also has bigger budget. They have more miles that they have a truck, one route is 30 miles one way. And if they plow both ways, they're driving 60 miles compared to our 15 miles one way or 30 miles round trip. So that's why they're on a 10-year, but other townships are on 20 years on replacing them, but we went to 15. That way the truck was, and since we've taken better care of, we got more money out of it. Because like the 92, when we sold it, we only got $6,000 when we put it through a called auction. The last truck that we sold through Gov Deals, we got almost 15,000.
18,000.
We got out of it, so that helped us out. But also, in the last 5 years, truck prices have went through the roof because of all the emission stuff that's put on them and all that. So that's what's kind of hurting us right now is all that emission stuff. That probably put $15,000 to $20,000 extra dollars on a
Keep
truck.
going.
'Cause we used to, when we replaced a truck, we was under $100,000 to replace them, and now we're $150 for the one I was, and I will say there were some extras that were put on that we can do away with some of those extras that you don't have to have. And I could you get that number down, but you're still gonna be over $100,000 for a truck, so.
Right, so I think that's why the bed makes a lot of sense. So when we get all the numbers figured out, we know what gets you on some kind of a plan, then we'll come back and look at this bed for the truck and get this fixed.
Okay, and that's fine, I'm just getting the numbers here, I mean, and I know with Connie that this is a hard time of year because all the numbers are out in left field, you don't have concrete numbers in front of you
Yeah.
until the 1st of March, when it's more cut and dry for you, so.
Okay.
All right. Anything else for Rob? If not,
Actually, there is one thing that I wanted to tell you guys is, at the OTA and some of the conferences I went to, I learned quite a bit about some of the road techniques to preserve our roads without going to blacktopping and stuff. And a big thing that I found is getting with the ODOT and the I can't remember the name of it, the division. Anyway, of doing a road safety audit, and that is something that we could have them come, they're willing to come down and do. I don't know if there is a cost, it's not a very substantial cost, but having what they call a road safety audit, where they come down, go through all of our roads with us, that way we can put that 5 or 10 year plan together on road maintenance and stuff. And it's all through ODOT and LTAP, that's what I was trying to think of, but through LTAP, so.
And how was there a cost to that?
I don't recall there being a cost, but I can't say that there definitely wasn't, but I've got the brochure here. If you guys wanna look at it, it just says, road safety audit is a proactive, formal safety performance examination of existing or future road or intersection by independent.
Are they looking at the road or
They're-
the safety of the road?
They're looking at the road, at what you have there, and these are experts from ODOT that come down, and they do this as a service of ODOT. But nowhere have I seen where there's any form of payment, but I mean, I'll call them and find out for sure, but they was really pushing that every township ought to take advantage of this on these road audits, because there was a.
IAP.
oh God.
I know Terra, the people who provide the township's insurance, I know they offer free audits and they come in and they'll look at if you're doing an inventory of guardrails or road signs or street signs periodically, so.
We don't have them.
We don't have Otara.
Well, but the idea is still good. If there needs to be a process where you, and I think you do already, you go out and you inventory all your road signs to know
Correct.
that if there's any kind of a lawsuit, that we show that we have done due diligence to look at what our requirements are for the streets, and if a sign is missing and there's an incident where there's a legal liability to the township, you present your documentation that says, we've looked at this sign every month for the last 3 years. We've determined that it's been there every audit, and now one time it's not there and it's not our negligence. I don't know if you had ever heard of that, or that may have come across any of the classes that you've been involved in, or if these guys might have come across that too.
Actually, one of the sign classes I went to talked about that, about, having, you do your sign inspections once a month. You go through, and like I've got a log book that shows of what staff point that sign is supposed to be at. So if you start at 0 feet at the intersection of State Route 126 and Weaver Road, and you go 75 feet in, there should be a stop sign. 180 or 200 feet, there's a curve sign. At 500 feet, there's a stop ahead sign. All that is logged in there, and you go and you make sure that that's all there. And you can be as detailed as you want, or you can be as vague as you want, but as long as you say that I went out once a week and I made sure that these signs in this book were at these locations, they was there. and you're documenting, you're saying that. Now, again, how detailed you wanna get, that's up to each
No, I think
entity.
I think if you're doing it, you're filling more than the requirement.
Correct,
Perfect.
correct.
Who's
That's,
our insurance carrier then on the township?
Ohio
Ohio
Plan
Plan.
Island,
The shirt you got.
yeah, the red shirt that I gave you, that's where that was from.
But, yeah, and this, LTAP is through ODOT, and like I said, that was one of the things that, this one pavement preservation class I went to, they gave me that sort of stuff, and I'll find out more information, and I'll just get with you individually and let you know about it, unless it costs money, and then I'll bring it back before the board in a meeting, but
I don't think it would cost anything now that I'm thinking about it.
it's
They're always,
through LTAP, so I'm kind of thinking it won't, but I can't say that for sure. But they strongly suggested that we do that to help put stuff together, so.
Okay. All right, Mr. Galloway.
Don't worry about it. What goes around comes around. You just be at the BZA, at the meeting Wednesday night, okay?
Okay, first is the administration report. Right-hand side, you'll see the retrofitting. We talked about this last week, last meeting, retrofitting the apparatus bays with replacing the old fluorescent fixtures to the new LED light fixtures and bulbs. Connie had run the numbers for me, which we didn't have, so we're paying basically at Station 141, we're paying $6,152 a year in electric bill over there, about $512 a month. So in his estimate, this is the same estimate, except he cut and pasted all of the other stuff. This is the bottom line that we kind of discussed about last meeting, was it would cut the total wattage of those bulbs from 4,160 watts down to 1,196. So we kind of calculated about half of the bill, because that draws the most energy in there, because we replaced all the interior lights last year with LEDs. The only other thing you have in there is a stove, then the HVAC system. That's the only other thing that runs on electric in there. So subsequently, 50% of your wattage is going to cut your bill about 50% a month. So to take this to $6,152 a year, down about $3,000 a year versus $4,900. So in about probably next summer, about when you'll break even and start saving. Just for the record, Connie and I discussed as we went in through last year, because of general fund and my budget, that I inherited the first of the year the electric bill. I used to be part of the township's general fund on buildings, so I now pay the electric bill starting the first of the year. So thank you. I appreciate that very much. So with that being said, it's going to be a savings to my budget, obviously, over the cost of the time frame to change all those bulbs to LEDs and get rid of those fluorescents. The other station, 142, it's only, we're spent $728 a year on that. That's only $60 a month. We have a permanent light that stays on in there 24/7, so the guys don't walk in the middle of the night in a dark bay. That was an old fluorescent fixture, which we just had changed by Kraus. It'll be in the POs here in a minute. We just had that bulb, that whole fixture changed to an LED fixture. So that's going to bring that $60 a month down dramatically. That I don't think we need to change the fluorescent bulbs in that bay for the little use of that station. But that LED fixture will really cut that bill down immensely there, and I think we should just leave that station alone as it is for now. But I think the one that matters the most is next door at 141, and the draw that those LEDs or those fluorescent bulbs have over there. He's done some work for us already. Rob and I have started using him as we've gone away from some other ones. You can either do a PO tonight, or you can direct me to say, yes, let's move forward with this, and I can get 2 additional bids and bring back 3, however you want it. You can do sole source, or you can do 3 bids. But we have started using this gentleman on some other work for us. And I also believe that he came over here to Rob and was working an estimate to do all of the admin building and his bays as well. And I don't think his bid is back yet on, estimates back on that, so.
I had him come and go and give me an estimate to do everything in the shop back there, just an estimate of what it would take to change that all over. And then I had him come up front and see what it would take to change all these fixtures to LED. Two separate bids, up here and back there, because this here would be, I mean, it's all through the buildings, but just that way it's split up, so if you only want to do part of it now and part of it later, or what, or if you decide not to do it at all, depending on money, it just gives you an idea what at least one contractor's estimate on changing them to LED would be. So,
Do you have anybody else that you could get a quote from that you would feel would be a qualified vendor?
there's a couple others I could get. Some of the ones we've used in the past, I didn't feel comfortable with them, but I can get some others.
Chief, same?
I can do that as well. I've got a couple other ones that we can reach out to.
How many light fixtures did you say you had over there?
In the quote, it's 26 8-foot retrofits. So 26 fixtures it'll replace. And if the board wants to, I can move forward with the 3 bids. But like as Rob said, we've used some folks in the past in the township that have, I would not go out for bids on those folks. So.
About $200 a fixture.
Yeah, if I get my calculator out and do the math, somewhere about there, right. And it's retrofitting basically the fixtures that are there with the LED ballast and then the bulbs versus putting a whole new, that was the 9,000 if they put in a whole new fixture totally in the ceiling. So this is the cheapest of the scenarios to get full LED lighting in the bays.
I thought you had a couple different quotes last time. I don't want to reinvent.
One was for the other station, and one was for the additional, the real the full fixture at 9,000. Then the last one was 13,000 to do the community center. There was 4 on that estimate. We talked about this being the most practical one, and then just put this as just bringing to the board just this is the best cost-effective move for just Station 141. So, from the past. So we've cut 3 off and just left this as the practical one. Now, from this point on, we can do sole source, or we can go out and get some additional bids. It's just a matter of making some phone calls and giving this, what we want, what we're looking at, and then have them bid it and come back in, well, it won't get it back probably by next week's meeting, but the meeting in March. So I'll take whatever the board decides to do, recommends.
You're wanting so you're wanting the PO is for $49.79?
We either agree to have the Kraus Electric do this, or you instruct me to get 2 other bids and have 3 bids come back to the board.
Kraus done to date?
So Kraus came in, that's going to be the PO on my fire side. So Kraus came in, and we have an office upstairs, and it's a company that Rob found, a local gentleman. We have an office upstairs where there's 3 desks. There was 1 fluorescent bulb in that whole entire office. The officers couldn't see, so they asked me over the last couple months, is there any way we can get better lighting here? So we had him come in. He put in all new LED fixtures because the fluorescent one was from '93. So he put 3 new fixtures in with LED bulbs over each one of the desks. Then he went down and he replaced and put an LED fixture in the Station 141. And then the other issue that came up that he brought to my attention, and we'd have issues with that station down there in Shandon, 1970 station. All the wall receptacles, we have all our trucks obviously plugged in them for charging and, for heaters and then charging. And most of them don't work any longer, or they're so old that the plug won't stay in. Well, he got looking at me, he says, "Hey, Chief," he said, "these are all 15-amp residential breakers. I can't believe this station hasn't burned down before now with what you've got plugged into them." So he came in and replaced all 8 of those with 20-amp commercial-grade breakers and switches. And I think that PO you're going to get to approve is $1,266.55 for that work. That'll be on the fire one at the end. Not to name names, but, we've had the company that we use for the generators that really was not good for us. We had another couple that we called that never showed up. To the point of when Rob found his gentleman, we're like, let's give somebody a try. We need a township electrical company. And he came right out, gave us a bid, and has done the work so far. And Lieutenant Galloway is one of the ones that uses that room now, and the lighting seems a lot exceptional and all that. So I think Rob and I are both in agreement that at some point we need to find an electrician we can call for emergencies and stuff like that. And we're still exploring, and this guy so far has been productive and showed up on time and when he's supposed to be here. So
What's the price you said, or he said, per light fixture? It's not that bad.
about 200.
I paid
20, it's on the estimate there. It's behind the run report. Sorry, I got the packet kind of in a mixed up packet tonight. It's behind the run report. It'll say on their Kraus. So it's 26 8-foot LED retrofit kits for the existing fixture. So they're going to take the existing fixture that's there and then put an LED retro kit in it with the ballast and then the bulbs. And I will tell you from Butler Rules refurb of the inside of the station, those LED 8-foot bulbs, Rob, they're in a $20 to $30 a piece range. They are not cheap, but they last for years with that energy savings. I want to say they're $20-something a bulb for the LED 8-footers.
When was
So
the payback? Did you say 2 years you got the payback on this?
we estimate about summer of 19. We believe the summer of 2019 will be that mark of where the 4,900 is going to match off the cost savings, and then from that point on, every month from there, you're going to pay half of an electric bill from next summer on.
Basically, you're paying for one light a month.
So your payback is within 18 months.
Oh, less than that, I would think, Jeff.
I mean, if you can get paid back in 18 months, this has got to be
Yeah, because I mean, literally, you're talking 4,160 kilowatts to 1,196 kilowatts. So it's almost half of the wattage that they're going to be putting out that the fluorescents did. So,
I say the sooner we do it, the sooner we start saving. So I'm
I've
okay with
been
going with
pushing to go to LED for a long time, because I know it dropped ours $300 a month just when I changed them over there, and I paid over $300 per fixture, and I did the work myself.
Did you go from fluorescent to LED or condensate to LED?
Went from the halogen to the LED.
So halogen would be less efficient than fluorescent, or about the same? Probably about the same.
It would be less efficient than even the fluorescent, but
yeah.
It's better than incandescent.
I could put 4 LED lights and have less wattage than if I ran one or the other.
Well, I would
And
say,
one light was brighter, one LED light was brighter than the other.
I will say, and Rob can probably contest to this since he's been here the whole time, but I would say that most of the bulbs in that bay from 1993 are still originals. A lot of them are originals from 1993, so you know how there's no energy savings in those bulbs that are in there now from 93.
Not the exact, all the bulbs have been changed, but the
Fixtures.
fixture's the same.
Yeah, the fixtures are the same, and some, I bet you some of the bulbs may
The
still be
bulbs,
there.
No, we've replaced the bulbs
Okay.
quite a few times.
Okay, but they're still fluorescent bulbs.
They're still fluorescent bulbs, the fixtures are the same, so.
And it'll be way brighter and less energy.
Well, just from what he told me in my shop back there, I think there's 17 fixtures, and he thinks we can do away with about a half of them by putting in the 8-foot LED fixtures, that I can go with half of the fixtures, so that, you're gonna do away with.
So that's half of the cost.
Right, so,
Yes, and it'll be brighter.
and that's what he said, is it will be a lot brighter, because, like, right now, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows of 4, and he's saying that he thinks that I can get away with, of those 5 rows, go to 3 rows, and instead of having 4 in each row, only have 2 in each rows. And then there's a couple of them that we can just switch out the fixture with the LED bulb in it and be cheaper too. But in the shop there, you'd be better off with a brand new fixture, but you're only going half as many fixtures. That's in my shop. I don't No, and I would say it'd probably be about the same if he's replacing those, because there's 4 banks.
Mine are staying all the same. They're just gonna retrofit the existing
Just retrofit,
kind of,
okay.
yep. Yep, to do the your way was 9,000, almost 10,000. So this is the most cost-effective for us installation-wise, so.
All right, I'm just gonna make a motion for, to issue a PO for Kraus Electric in the amount of $4,979 to retrofit 26 fixtures in Station 141.
Second?
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes?
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Next, number 2 is we discovered last week, myself, Rob, and Connie, that we are not members of the State of Ohio Department of Administrative Services. That's the state bid contract. I went back and researched it. We're not on there. We haven't been on there, we think, for at least 2 years that we were in the state bidding purchasing process. To the point of I researched it, did the paperwork you have in your packet, the actual flyer. Went in and researched it, filled out all the necessary paperwork. There's also a resolution along with that I think Connie has. With residents, with a resident population of less than 25,000, it'll cost us $100 a year to sign up and get back into that state bidding process. And Rob's already obviously utilized it, but some of the other benefits you can take is you can print off a pickup truck, a dump, whatever. You can print off the specs, the complete specs of what the state bid is. Take it down to Jake Sweeney and say, here you go. And historically, most dealers are either matching or beating by about $500 because they'd like to have a local sale. I know 2 years ago or 3 years ago, the Ford state contract bid was in Cleveland, and that was the only one on state bid. So if somebody, a local dealer, would want to sell something, they can make a local sale and match state bid or even give you a little bit better price. So with that being said, we feel we need to get back into the state bid process.
So have we,
So
we have purchased things on state bid in the last 2 years.
I don't know how,
Yeah,
because
do it.
I don't know how we did it, because
You get like a ID number that you have to put on the purchase order?
we will, because,
We
yeah.
have an
typically-
account number from before, and, then they send, to do quarterly reports if we purchased anything, but, Chief went back and looked, and we're not on the list of
Wonder how we
people.
did.
I don't know. Other than they've just missed it, forgot about it, or missed it, and we haven't paid in the last 2 years, so.
So we don't need anything.
So, but yeah, we went in there and looked, and Ross is in there, Oxford, Westchester, kind of. I went back in a second time, and we looked, and there's 3 pages of who's in the state system for Butler County in the state bid purchasing plan, and we're not in there. So basically, it's the resolution is there to get back in it, $100 check, and we're back in there, officially in there.
All right, we got the check.
So there you go. So they got a long resolution to read.
All right. You sign, you got the number?
Number 14.
All right, Resolution 14-2018, authorizing political subdivision to participate in the State of Ohio Cooperative Purchasing Program. Whereas Ohio's Cooperative Purchasing Act, AM sub HB number 100, as signed into law on December 4th, 1985, and whereas effective March 6th, 1986, Ohio's Cooperative Purchasing Act provides the opportunity for counties, township, municipal corporations, regional transit authorities, regional airport authorities, and port authorities, and school districts, conservancy districts, township park districts, and other authorities to participate in contracts distributed by the State of Ohio, Department of Administrative Services, Office of Cooperative Purchasing for the purchase of supplies, services, equipment, and certain materials. Now therefore, be it ordained by Morgan Township, Section 1, that the Township Administrator, Jeff Galloway, hereby requests authority in the name of Morgan Township to participate in state contracts with the Department of Administrative Services, Office of State Purchasing, has entered into, and the Office of Cooperative Purchasing has distributed for the purchase of supplies, services, equipment, and certain other materials pursuant to Revised Code Section 125.04. Section 2, that the administrator is hereby authorized to agree in the name of Morgan Township to be bound by all contract terms and conditions as the Department of Administrative Services, Office of Cooperative Purchasing prescribes. Such terms and conditions may include a reasonable annual fee, membership fee, to cover the administrative costs with which the Department of Administrative Services incurs as a result of Morgan Township's participation in the contract. Further, that the administrator does hereby agree to be bound by all such terms and conditions and to not cause or assist in any way the misuse of such contracts or make contract disclosures to non-members of the co-op for the purpose of avoiding the requirements established by ORC 125.04. Section 3, that the administrator is hereby authorized to agree in the name of Morgan Township to directly pay the vendor under each such state contract in which it participates for items it receives pursuant to the contract, and the administrator does hereby agree to directly pay the vendor. Resolution ordinance must be approved, dated, and filed with the Office of Cooperative Purchasing prior to the use of contract. Additionally, the payment of the appropriate annual fee must be made prior to contract use.
Second.
Mr. Brooker?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Needs to be signed. Here's Brett's sign. Or is Jeff going to sign?
I think you signed
I
it
think yeah.
Okay.
as the administrator.
All right.
Okay, number 3. We talked about the electronic door locking system for the security, the continuing threats and the security of the stations. I did some research. It's kind of highlighted in there, and I just talked to Chris as well, Chris Brucker. So the Trilogy system that we're looking at that most of the fire departments in the county have is not wireless. I talked to the manufacturer. You can take the key fobs and you can program them next to the lock with the keypad. You can program them, so you don't need the laptop and the software. You need the laptop and the software, you need a laptop, which we have. You need the software and the cable to plug into whatever door you want to research, and they call that an auto trail, to touch who's coming through that door, and that is a cable. He said he knew of no system like this that was wireless. I talked to Chris, and Chris said, yeah, he said the system I'm looking at would be a whole lot more money than what you're looking at here in this system. I think, Chris, he said there was like over $1,000 for each one of the doors.
Doors $1,000, but it connects wirelessly to a controller in the building. That's about $1,500. So you need a controller per building if we're looking to do this for the whole township. But what that does is it integrates all together. So if you have one badge, it works. We control what doors you get. So it's a little bit, I think it's a little overkill for what they're trying to do. You just want to secure the fire station and then have the audit trail. It's probably the most cost-effective way to do it.
So went back and looked and priced again, which ironically, I guess you can buy everything now on Amazon. So Amazon's cost is cheaper than actually the manufacturer, Trilogy. It's cheaper by $100 and something. So with 5 door locks, which would be the 2 exterior doors and the 3 doors leading into the station, and 40 key fobs, and for $117, we can get the software and the cable. I mean, that we have the laptops already. That would come up to roughly $47, $28, $45. My goal would be, is if this got approved and we did this, I would purchase this out of the EMS billing account, because it covers our security of getting into the building, into the medication and the drugs and all that. which would easily suffice the justification of getting it out of the EMS billing account, which is what we buy all our EMS medical supplies and everything out already, and leave it out of both the EMS or the fire levy. So I would like to move forward with this system because, I'm kind of tired of hearing the rumors and the threats throughout the township from former employees that we just need to take a proactive stance here against the safety of our people, for our safety of our people. There's, it's like $64.34 for a pack of 10.
So about 65.
It's like $6.43 a piece, I think, yeah. Yep.
Are we gonna have any kind of like, to keep track of them, that when we issue one, they sign just like we did with
Like the keys, absolutely. That would probably be, I'll probably assign somebody, because if you program it off the door, I'm probably not that technically savvy. So one of our IT technically savvy assistant chiefs over there might be the one that programs and keeps a record of them. They'll be issued to the employees. My idea right now would be the issue to the employees, Mark, Steve, and Rob. The deputies have to knock the door and come in. I hate to do that, but that's just the way society is right now. So that would be my master folks. And Connie does come over, yeah.
Chief, I think maybe it would be a good idea to have a policy for this.
Absolutely.
So, if somebody keeps losing key fobs, we
They're
don't
buying
just
them.
keep, paying out more because they're careless.
Yep. And if they lose it, we're going to have to go back and reprogram all the key fobs again to a different code, because we don't know who ended up with the key fob that can now swipe
Can't
the
you just
door.
deactivate that key fob? Or each
I
key
guess you
fob?
could.
Yeah. Each key fob should have
IT
its own
Chief
identity.
Griffith, I guess you can deactivate that one once it's lost, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yes.
And that's through Amazon? You're getting that?
Well, the key fobs and the actual key door locks are going to be through Amazon. The software and the cable I got to buy from the company. They do not.
So you need two separate POs.
Yeah, and I didn't think about breaking that down. I figured it's just an open one full cost. So I guess this cost minus like $120 basically for the software and the cable and the software. My suggestion would be is everything is on my desk and all laid out to say not to exceed like 5,000, but I think I'm right in the ballpark of 4,700 for everything.
How much would you need for the Trilogy? The
The
company?
Trilogy, well, that's going to be 870. It's like 871 times 5 plus $65 for the key fobs. Now I'm kind of rounding up to the
That's
higher
Amazon,
mark.
right?
What's that?
Talking
Amazon,
Amazon.
yeah.
So Trilogy's the software. and the
Trilogy is the actual maker of the lock. That is actually the company, the maker of the lock.
cable. So you said that's about 200?
I'm sorry, Tom.
Saying that the software and the cables.
Software and the cable is like 117.48. So if you took 117.48 out of that number right there,
So if we
of
did
47.
48 to Amazon, we did 200 to Trilogy, we'd be fine.
we'd be in the ballpark, yes.
Okay, before we do POs, we need to know specifically what company we're paying. Otherwise, if the bill comes in and it's different from what we did the PO, then my PO's no good.
That's why I was.
What kind of labor is going to be involved?
It says it's easily installable on the doors, and it's actually the same exact make, and it's the same shape and size as what's on there now with just a keypad. So we're going to attempt to try and do them first. I know Steve and Mark have put some of the other ones on there. We're going to attempt to put them on first. If not, there's a local locksmith that most of the fire departments use that have installed those. There you go. Let me do this. Since we meet in a week, let me bring back all the breakdowns of Amazon versus the name of the company in a week. How's that? That way we'll have a breakdown in the company. So,
Okay.
Chief, is that paid out of Fund 2111?
nope, that'll be paid out of Fund 2281, the EMS billing, 2281. That is an EMS billing fund. And that's because pretty much that's security. We have to have two phases of security in the building per the Pharmacy Board of Ohio. One is our security cameras, the other is the door lock. So that's why it justifies paying it out of the EMS billing account. And if you're looking at our budgets there, you'll probably see the figures that's in there. So I will bring that back next week with all the exact which breakdown in the vendors. Last two, basically.
What happened to 5?
What happened?
5 to 6.
I cut one out. I cut one out because we've decided to go to executive session with that one. Okay, so we cut number 4 out. It's in executive session. It shouldn't take long because I know Brett's under a timeline, but it shouldn't take long. But Connie and I have to do some township business of what's coming up next that's getting ready to expire or be renewed. Just number 5 quickly. I talked to USDA up there at the conference, and we meet a lot of grants because we're a population of under 20,000 in deemed rural. So I've talked to them, one about the addition to the station, which they will fund that on a low-interest loan as well as some of the other ones I have talked to already, plus the community block grant for that, plus which will take it down to, and it's kind of what I was talking about a little bit when we were on Rob's subject. I feel, and I think a workshop would warrant in the next month or so is to take a look at the township on a 5 and 10 year strategic and master plan. I just think that I can drive the 3 of you towards that. I think there's some funding out there. I think there's some mechanisms out there to keep people in Morgan Township and not leave. You got 15 perfect acres back here with a lot of ideas that we've thrown across here, Rob, Connie, and I, to kind of put a 5 and 10 year strategic and master plan together for the township. So maybe in the next month or 2 we come up with a workshop or something and bring those together. So. Okay, so we're going to move to the fire. And sorry.
Township Administrator, can you fill us in a little bit more on what you found out about possibly getting a co-op to help us? We got some policies we want to either create or update.
So I'm still reaching out to them. We're kind of playing some telephone tag. When I was the EMA director for the 8 years at EMA, we used successfully for years a internship program from Miami University. Those folks came in, they did GIS work for us, they did some other research for us, and they were invaluable, and then we signed off semester hours for them. Seeing the booth up there the other day at the OTA, it hit me that this business and government group of this one branch of the university had written the township administrator book or the township policy books and things like that, which I know Connie has bought that package. So the gentleman that runs that whole program, Phil Russo, I've known him and worked with him in the past with the EMA side. So I've got a call into him. We've kind of missed each other about potentially bringing in one of those government students in here as an internship here at the township to help us clean up, rewrite employee manuals, some rules and policies and things like that. It's invaluable, it's an invaluable internship for the township that can be brought in here, and we just sign them off on a semester hour. They usually will come in and work a semester, a 3-month semester. Then another one will come in and follow them after as a domino effect. And there's projects in here. Dale found the 2007 employee manual that's sitting back on that desk in the back office that I kind of glanced through but did not look at in deep yet. But those are projects we could go, and especially with them already doing the township, those manuals and stuff. They already have that government and that knowledge of a community that it would just be, I think it'd be a win-win for the township if we could get an internship program started in here from Miami University. So with that, I've got the feelers out there with Dr. Russo, and we just haven't matched up our schedules yet to get together. So,
Okay. Sounds good.
So, absolutely. Thanks for reminding me of that, Tom. I totally forgot about that. His card's sitting right there by my phone, but I totally forgot about it. So. Okay, so we're going to switch to the fire, and I'm going to call Chief Griffith up here as well. You have your run numbers there for the 2018, January versus 2017. Basically, you'll see front page is is the 13 runs for January, and you'll see a $110 loss at the bottom. That was the double-wide modular home on North Wire. That was just a couple of weeks ago. That was that fire loss. Overall, five fire-related calls, 3 EMS, 1 service, and then 4 good intents. This does not include, and I'm sure everybody heard, saw Facebook and all about the major extrication of the semi-entrapment 2 weeks ago on 27, which we were a part of there. We were there for 3 hours with Ross on that one. That'll be in next month's statistics. But there's the statistics. You'll see basically the comparison from last year of 2017. The 2017 loss was $1 million. That's because that was the Howard Road fire from last January. The Howard Road fire is the difference there. And so far, if the trend continues, the county in general is averaging a fully involved structure fire about every 3 days now since the first of the year, which is totally surprising and not sure why, but I know Oxford had 4 fires in 3 days, all fully involved. So it's just the trend that's going on, and it's Butler County's trend right now. So first one, AC and E come up here. First one on our motions will be a motion for firefighter paramedic Bill Zaws. It's 1-year anniversary effective 2/11/18 at a raise of 30 cents an hour to a $15.80 an hour pay.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Motion carried. What number is that, Carol?
15-2018.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I'll be doing the next two. Motion for Lieutenant Penny Galloway, 5-year anniversary effective 2/11/18 at 40 cents an hour, raised to $17.50 an hour.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Have to abstain.
Item
Okay.
3,
That's
Con-
hold on, that's 16, Carol?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
you ready? Item 3 is Connie's favorite grant I applied for again, the Ohio State Priority 1 EMS Grant 2018-19. The application was filed. We'll know April 1st if we receive that or not. It helps buy EMS supplies and makes things stretch a little further. So I did apply for that and received that. That was submitted and received by the state. So once we get it, we'll set up a line item and start spending that.
How much was that?
Last year, well, it's seatbelt money, so it depends on how many people get accepted. So they take the pot, divide it by the number of people who applied and correctly applied, and they divide it out. Last year was 3,500. 3225. Yeah, see, the numbers person, to me, it's 3,500.
Year before it was 2,500.
Yeah, it just depends. So we'll hope we get it. Yeah, just 3,500. Real quick, also, another thing I'd like to read. I received this email from the folks on the Ellis family on North Wire for the fire that we took care of 2 Sundays ago, and I think it's important to read because this new administration, we receive these kind of letters, which we never did before, and I'll read it very quickly. Hi, Chief. Thank you so much for everything you did for us. I really appreciate it and your whole department. You guys are rock stars. So thankful God sent you to help us. She goes on to ask for a report, but she also says, thank you and your squads for coming so quickly to our residents, the Ellis family. So we didn't receive these up to 3 years ago. I just wanted to put on the record.
What kind of fire was that?
It was a well, I gotta say this right, because it's a modular home fire.
And how did it, what was the?
Furnace was the termination, and we made such a good stop, I'm gonna brag on us, that they were actually able to get some of their personal possessions and records out of that, which is very rare for a modular home. We made a good stop. It didn't even ventilate to the roof, and it was in the roof. So they were very happy that they were able to retrieve.
She had to walk through fire to get out.
She walked through fire. It was in the hallway, and she didn't realize what she's walking through twice. She actually went back to get her glasses again. And part of this reason that she sent this is I do this, and Chief also does it, is once the fire's over, we walk through the structure with them, show them, and help them get things out. And they were very appreciative of that fact that, I spent a couple extra hours with them, going through, explaining it, and getting the Red Cross there and getting them settled. We don't just put fires out and leave like some places do. We I spent some time with them, and they felt good about they're lucky to be alive, to be honest. And I told her another one came out on Mustang 3 years ago that, was a fatal fire. Same setup, just,
What started the fire in the roof?
it was actually the furnace. In the furnace in this modular home, actually the distribution system was in the ceiling, not like your normal forced air that you would have in your home where it goes down. This one was the furnace, and then it distributed it out. So when the furnace caught, it actually blew fire up into this and distributed it till it burned up. So that's what put it up there, quite aggressively too. But we made
Also,
it-
to let you know, they have sought an application to replace that home. They
Yeah,
want
she
to
explained
stay
to me
here
that there's
in
been some
Morgan
changes
Township.
in zoning, so she has to either, there's some building that our insurance needs to take care of, that they can't just put it back where it was. They had to do a slab or a port foundation, so, I did provide them a fire report. It turns out Clayton Homes will allow them to go to the front of the production line if you present a fire report, so she came and I gave her a bunch so she could use them wherever and told them to call. I also spoke to the insurance company investigator who was satisfied with it and also ruled at the furnace. Or, as he put it, around the furnace area. So they were very happy. So they're living down in Harrison now. So they
Nice
get that.
job.
Yep, so.
Thanks for what you do.
I thank him because I got a weekend off.
You're always going the abstract.
Yeah, no, not really. Not lately. I'm not always going. No. Okay, next one is the Ohio EPA. We had some good news this week, or actually last week. The Ohio EPA has approved to use the current septic tank system and leaching field for our addition to the station with the 2 additional bathrooms. That is about a $30,000 to $40,000 savings. So Dwayne, Accurate Carpentry, is going to come out probably either this week or next and just shoot it with his grade to see the drop in the grade, and then go from there on that part of it. The next step is obviously to hire an architectural company to draw an actual set of plans and design it so we can go for permits. We're kind of putting the cart ahead of the horse a little bit on this, because we really, I really do want to work with Accurate, and you've met Dwayne, I believe, after the IP debacle. He did an incredible work job for me at rebuilding the EOC years ago, and he's one of those trustworthy guys, like a mechanic, when you find one you don't want to let him go. So he's already got his subs in place. He's already kind of got he's got the rough drawing that we had drawn already out there. I called today Tim Wiley, who was with CR Designs, who had been doing work for the township over the last several years, and he's no longer there. I called his cell phone, he did not answer. So I did at OTA conference meet 2 fire department architect companies. One's based in Cincinnati. So I might reach out to them this week, and just all we really need from them is a set of plans, a drawn set of plans that has the electrical, the structural with a truss, plumbing and all that to submit for plans. We don't need all this elaborate stuff and all that IP was going to do. That original agreement from Tim Wiley and CR Designs, when we were going to do the upstairs and do it that way, was $3,700 for the entire permit package and everything to take to plan. So I'm going to reach out to these 2 folks. Like I said, one is based in Cincinnati, and they've done fire stations over in Deerfield Township and Warren County and some other work around here, and just touch base with them. But again, and with your point, Tom, last meeting is that we may take a look at some of the rooms moving around and something like that to look at that. But I think the base is there to stay in our budget, and that addition to say, the septic tank was, we thought we were going to have to put another system over there and a mound system, and that was just going to be a disaster. Ohio EPA bought off on it and said, yep, you're adding 2 bathrooms, but it's no more product, you're just dispersing it into different matters. So they've agreed on that. So that's that one. So I'm going to move forward to the POs. I have 2 POs tonight. One is to FDIC. That is the International Firefighting Conference and Training Seminar Sessions. That is in Indianapolis. We're sending 8 employees to that. It's unheard of. Some of my guys will brag that we're like the only part-time fire department that actually invests in their people. by sending them to training. So we're going to send 8 people to that week-long conference. It's incredible training and stuff that they'll get, and then they've signed an agreement that they're going to come back and do a teach back of what they learn in their sessions back to the entire department, so we get our money's worth back out of them. So I'm looking for a PO for $2,500. That'll come out of our training fund, Jeff, out of the 2111 account of training. But it'll be for the conference fees and the hotel rooms, the mileage and parking. They have to get their own time and their coverage because some of them are on duty, so they have to find their own coverage and their time. And then their meals, they have to pay for their meals. We're not paying for those. So that'll cover the 8 people. In this package.
Okay, Jeff?
Yes.
Are you gonna put that on your credit card, or are we paying FDIC directly?
I'm gonna put on my credit card. That's the easiest way to actually do the registration, because it's a global registration. It's easier to just put on a credit card.
Okay, then in that case, the PO will need to be made to corporate payment systems so that I can pay the bill when it comes through,
Okay.
not to FDIC.
Okay, that's how you want it done, and you're the one that talks money. I don't. So.
All right, so moved as said.
Corporate payment services.
Sure.
What's the agenda? What do they teach up there?
Oh, they teach everything from firefighter tactics to company officer leadership. They'll teach water supply, rural water supply. I think one of the guys are taking rural water supply. Most have signed up for an incredible class called Reading Smoke. So when you pull up, you see what the smoke is doing, what color it's doing. Reading the building, so you see, what the building's going to do while it's on fire. It's those kind of tactics. And these instructors that teach this are from all over the world. I know several of them that teach for these classes, and you're not going to get this from the Ohio Fire Academy. You're not going to get it from anywhere else. And then they're going to bring that back. So for instance, Lieutenant Cooper and Lieutenant Browning are taking the reading smoke, reading structure. They're going to bring that back and do that PowerPoint program to all of our 30 guys to better inform our folks of how to read smoke. What's a mustard-colored smoke coming out of a building versus a black smoke versus a light gray. And that all is going to come back to our folks as a teach-back program.
Okay.
So, yep.
All right, I'll second it.
All right, Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Motion carried.
And if you want, I have the book over there. If you just want to see the breakdown of the classes, I have the book over there, the big Bible of what all the classes are, with the descriptions of them.
Do they get a certification?
Absolutely. They get CEUs as well. They get fire CEUs for their firefighter renewal, their instructor and inspector renewals. Absolutely. The next one we talked about a little bit, this is the Kraus Electric. This is for all the work that they did, the additional LED lightings in the office upstairs in 141, and then the changing of the 8 receptacles at 142, and that LED light to the commercial grade products for $12.66 and 55 cents.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Motion carried.
With that, we had a meeting Friday. We had a meeting Friday with Phoenix Fire Safety. We're now going to go with Phoenix Fire Safety for all our uniforms, bunker gear, everything like that. They're now doing a county-wide purchasing, and more departments are coming in with them. So they're holding their prices for 2 years. So we're signing, when we start to agree to work with them, we've already started buying some bunker gear from them. They're going to hold their prices on bunker gear, uniforms, shirts, pants, whatever, for 2 years. And the more people we get into the collaborative, Westchester's in it now, we're in it. There's a couple more departments talking to coming in there. Liberty's in it. Liberty just went into it because they used to do Kettering, where the new chief came from. With that being said, just for the heck of it, they threw this out there for the trustees and to be uniformed, and if you guys wanted to do some shirts and jackets. So there's two examples here. There's one here on a gray shirt where the Morgan is highlighted around it. And then there's this one here, and I said, I like, this one's nice, but you can't see a black tree on a black velvet. And they're like, well, it's supposed to go on a gray, but the only backing we had at the moment was black. So take a look at these. I know Jeff's just coming on board. I don't know if you guys are looking at, getting new Morgan Township shirts, jackets, polos, whatever, but it'll be part of that collaborative because they've lumped all of Morgan, not just the fire department, in. So. With that being said, that's all I have. Since I went to OTA and learned the official terms now, I need one executive session for standby for a negotiation session. So it's not really, but that was the things we learned about executive session. So any questions for me?
Nope.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Mrs. Reinhardt.
Okay, I'll try to make this quick. I got a lot, but it won't take long. The Butler County Engineers Annual Township Seminar is Thursday, March 1st, with dinner and seminar at 6:30. I need to submit the RSVPs by Friday, so I need to know who is going to attend. I'll take care of doing the RSVP for you.
I'm out of town, so.
Okay,
And they need to know by when?
Friday, like 3 days.
Yeah, I won't know until I'm close, so count me out.
Okay,
Same here, I'm out.
okay, Rob?
I'm going.
Okay, so just one? Do, Mark or Steve wanna go, since nobody else is? No? Okay, so just Rob. Okay? The next is there is a vacancy on the Board of Health, and they're asking for nominations, if you know of anyone that, might be interested in doing that. I didn't know if anybody, you should have all received an email through the listserv for the Butler County Township Association. So I didn't put a copy of the letter in there because you should have all received it, so,
Gary Summers sent out a note last night saying that there's one that everybody's pushing for from St. Clair Township. They're trying to get more coverage across Butler County.
Okay.
We've already got one from Morgan, so
okay,
they're kind of not wanting anybody where we already have
Okay.
a representative.
all right.
So there's one from St. Clair that's kind of not being
Steve
represented right
Bartels,
now.
he's excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, then we also received a letter, and I gave you a copy, I believe, of this. They're looking for representatives to the District 10 Public Works Integrating Committee. And it lists on there who is already on from the different townships. Again, they're asking for nominations for the appointment. I have to return this by March 2nd, so if you guys want to think about it and look at what I gave you and let me know at the next meeting, we can do that. South Regional Water District has offered Morgan Township 2 complimentary tickets to their 51st annual meeting, March 24th. It's at Houston Woods Lodge at 6 p.m. These are, of course, complimentary tickets for elected officials. I need to RSVP by March 9th. And with the dinner choice, I think I gave you each a copy of the letter. There are 3 choices for dinner. So, again, if we want to do the next meeting, and you can let me know, and then I can get the RSVPs done.
That's a Saturday.
Yes. I'm gonna skip down to number 6. Ann Flagg from the Butler County Recycling, that's that in there twice, was supposed to come tonight, but then she had a conflict and she couldn't be here. I had it set up for her to come on the 27th, but now we've moved the meeting. So my question to you is, do you really have any questions about this 15-year solid waste management plan for her? Is it worth her time to come? Or do you want to just, at the next meeting, you guys take the time to go through the packet I gave you like a month ago, and we can do the resolution to pass it at the next meeting?
I think we can just do the resolution. In fact, I brought it tonight, but we're
Yeah,
cutting close
right.
on time.
So we can do it at the next meeting, and I'll call her tomorrow and tell her, she can take us off the calendar. And then the last thing I need is, I need a PO for Jack Grove if we're going to do any more, and I know, the chief has talked to him a couple times for different things, and I'm sorry, Carol, I didn't have my mic on. So I know there's gonna be a bill coming from him, although yours were phone conversations, so there might not be a bill. So if we are going to use him anymore, I've already used the $1,500 that we already allocated, and then you approved for Dale to speak with him, and I've used that. So I'm just putting it out there. If we're gonna use him anymore, I need a PO. I need the approval to do that.
Okay, I'll make a motion for a PO to go ahead and advance 5,000 to put there to be used if needed.
I'll second.
All right, Mr. Updike?
Yes?
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Are you saying you're raising it from the 1,500 that you already spent, you're adding an additional 5,000?
Yes?
If needed.
Where's it going? Where are you going with that?
If we need it, it's there to be used.
Not-
It's
he's
in a
not
PO.
building it. It's just like an open PO that if Dale has an issue come up, he can call him and there's money there.
Okay, but you're not putting anything specific on that 5,000 right now, right? Or
That's right.
For, also, Daryl, we are going to be using him as kind of a sounding board, and he will be attending our 21st meeting on, okay? And I'm sure he will bill us for that.
So far, he has not billed us for any phone calls, because I watch the bills when they come very closely. And he has not billed us for any phone calls or emails, only when he actually, comes and speaks or attends a meeting or something like that. And so,
did he ask you to give us an hourly rate?
yes.
What was it?
325, I think it's 325. It's been a while since I've paid his bill, so,
25 an hour?
uh-huh.
Should have stayed, you should have pursued that attorney career.
Move it further.
Okay, anything else, Connie?
No, that was it.
All right, thank you. Mr. Kolb?
Nothing tonight.
Mr. Brucker?
The only thing I had, and I've kind of addressed it already, was need to look at our policies and either update them or in some cases create them. One in particular is about our meetings. If we create a policy, how we notify people of our meeting dates, times, changes, things like that. Like we've had a couple special meetings in the last couple days just to get the interviews and the hiring processes completed for the zoning administrator and the seats on the both boards. And we've always put it in the newspaper, and what we learned up in Columbus was the newspaper's probably not the best avenue. People don't read newspapers anymore. So if we just make a policy that we will put it on our website, any notifications of meetings, meeting changes, special meetings, whatever. So I will take a stab at, since we don't have that, I will take a stab at writing that policy, and I don't know if I have it done by next week, but I'll bring it to the board for approval.
Okay, since we don't have that policy now, do you want me to put the notice in the paper that we've changed the meeting from the 27th to the 20th?
We
Because
don't have a policy, so we don't have anything that we can put it on the website.
Okay, because I'm not sure I could get it in at this point,
Correct.
because those freebies, they put in whenever they've got space.
So,
Okay.
yeah, go ahead and put it on the website, or give me it, and I'll put it on the website.
Yeah, I don't know how to
Yeah.
put it on the website.
Just tell me what you want on, and I'll put it on the website, and then I'll get that done as soon as possible.
Okay.
So
I think some of those, we talked about, some of those policies are the lot in the fire department that we just, instead of recreating the wheel, blend and move those over to a township instead of just
Right.
the fire department. Social medias,
right.
all those, we can just blend as a township one instead of just fire departments in the system.
Yes.
Speaking of policies, Jeff, have you been able to access your email account?
I need to talk to Chris tonight. He's
I
gonna,
gave you the password.
I couldn't, wasn't recognized, so Chris and I are gonna work it tonight.
Okay. One of the most important emails is in there is a link to the training for sexual harassment that we're requiring all Morgan Township employees to complete.
It'll say fire rescue one, except something, because Connie, or Carol got it too.
And I wouldn't open it.
Fire rescue one academy.
I don't trust anybody.
You weren't gonna, thought they wanted you to be a fireman?
Okay. Go ahead, Brett.
All right, a few things that I got. Moving the next meeting to February the 20th at 7 p.m., and we're also going to have a meeting with the Riley trustees at 5 p.m. So we'll be doing basically a work session before the regular meeting. Also, I believe the county did do the speed study on California Road from Okeana-Drewsburg to the line because they have changed the speed limit to 45 mile an hour, and it is posted now. Received a call from Mike Barton.
Martin, M-A-R-T-I-N.
Martin? It's hard to hear him on his phone, but yes. He wanted to see about getting his road paved. Well, he lives on a private lane that is gravel, which I informed him that we have no jurisdiction on the private lane, so that was taken care of. Also, while I've got Mr. Brucker here, I would like you to look into getting us a new video recorder back here because this one is starting to really go slow at certain times, and we've noticed the last few meetings before it goes kaplunk. Because I know in 8 years it's the same one. So we need to really look into that. And I guess my question is to Rob, I seen the air conditioners unhooked and stopped. Is it?
Squealing like crazy. I didn't think you wanted to listen to that tonight,
So you just turned it off for that? Okay.
Plug it back in, but I just unplugged it.
Portable air conditioner.
Do we need to look into maybe replacing that?
Let me take it apart tomorrow and see if I can do something with the fan that's making all the squealing, see if I can do something with it first. If not, then we'll have to see about that, but let me see if I can take care of that first.
Okay, and then, myself, Mr. Brucker, both received an email, from the Lottons about redoing their house, which we passed on to the new zoning administrator. Cause I guess they wanna build a house in front of their house, which they have plenty of room to do, but wanted to know how to do it and what they needed to do. So that's been passed to Mr. Marshall.
And an email has been sent to Ms. Lawton telling
So I guess we need to do an executive session for, what did you say that was?
Negotiations.
Yep.
Negotiation session for personnel negotiation or township negotiation?
All right, I'll make a motion to go into executive session at 6:04 PM for township negotiations.
I will second that.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Motion carried, we are adjourned.
Okay, we're back on.
Do you?
Jeff, I gotta roll.
All right, I'll make a motion at 6:24 PM to come out of executive session.
Second?
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
We are back in session.
And I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
We are adjourned.